Hey, how's it going? It's Robin Smith, and it's time for the Robin Smith Show for Monday, May 19th, 2025. Quick happy birthday to my big brother, who is now 45. And also, I just have to say, on my ride home today was the last day of a consult group that I went to down in Bethesda with the lovely folks that I shared office space with back in my days as an in-person therapist. I'll be an in-person therapist once again one day, I'm sure. But right now I'm in virtual land. Anyway, I'm on my way home, and what do I find crossing the street but a mother goose and her goslings on the highway. These poor little things, they don't know how to fly yet. They got to walk. You know, you see ducks and geese cross streets, but major 4-lane highway, I was just like, my God, how did we end up here? I guess they have to, they got to cross somewhere. Before we get too far into the episode, congratulations to the Hurricanes for knocking out my beloved Capitals. Canes face off against the Florida Panthers in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then the Oilers against the Stars. I can't believe Winnipeg. So first of all, okay, congratulations, Washington Capitals. Okay, great, good job, good 50th season. Ovi surpassed Wayne Gretzky's record. Spencer Carberry files another, team gets into the playoffs year for his second year. And then, next year we'll get into the conference finals. It'll be Ovi's last year. Excuse me. Hopefully he doesn't get out of the contract somehow. I think he should play for us. But the storyline for the Winnipeg Jets, I mean, that round one double overtime game 7 against St. Louis. It's just they were going to be out, and like in the last 2 seconds of the third period or whatever, they notch it in and go to overtime and then double overtime at home. I think the Winnipeg Jets that team was number 1 in the whole league in the regular season. So they for sure had home ice advantage and would be at home on game 7. And then so they double overtime victory into round 2. And then they go to another, it was another game 7 against the Stars, but it wasn't to be. Was it a game 7? Maybe it was a game 6. Anyway, they fall to the Stars. I'm sad about that because I wanted it to be Winnipeg versus the Canes, and then the Canes would get knocked out. So now that the Jets are out, the Stars are a great team. Here's what I like about the Dallas Stars. I've never been to Dallas. I've never rooted for Dallas. In fact, I've been, indoctrinated as a Washington Redskins, now Commanders fan, to hate the Dallas Cowboys, even though they are America's team, allegedly. Dallas Stars have the coolest anthem or song or whatever when they score. The Rangers are annoying. They have that hey in the playoffs, right? Dallas Stars, they play Pantera, the Cowboys from Hell. Pantera wrote a song just for the Dallas Stars. So that's badass. I would love to see the Stars go all the way. So I don't, now that the Jets are out, I don't care if the Panthers win or the Canes win. So, but yeah, it should be a good conference final matchup and all that other jazz. By the way, I have to say, okay, so moving along from sports, I ordered pad thai recently, and do you know what I found in my noodles? I found, those things that kitchen staff, dishwashers, they scrub the pots and pans with steel wool. Yeah, steel wool. One of those little fibers, those threads, not little. This thing is like the thickness of twisty tie, right? In my noodles, I called them up. I was like, we did a birthday call for my brother, and then after that, I was like, I'm calling this restaurant back. I'm just like, hey, by the way, they're like, what's your order? I'm like, this is what we ordered. I'm not calling them for money back. I'm like, can you please get a new steel wool and do a better job? Everyone makes mistakes, okay? But I hope that's the first and last time I find something like that in my food. I actually found out from my dad today. We took the kiddos to the Chesapeake Baysox minor league team over there in Bowie, Maryland. They used to be the Bowie Baysox, but I guess they're branching out. Chesapeake Baysox. I don't know when they made that change. But it was great. I think we could have shut out the Akron Rubber Ducks, or is that their name? It was not to be. I think the final score was 10-1. And after the game, the kids run the bases, and it was just really cute. And anyway, my dad, I took video and texted it to my parents, and my dad goes, that was one of my first projects, designing the mound and the field, Prince George's Stadium, and purposefully having the mound over on I want to say it's the third base. It was the here it is. Hold on. He says the Baysox Stadium was one of his early projects. He designed the grass knoll in left field so that parents could take their kids out there and sit out on a blanket, and kids could run around and dads could still watch the game. And then also that the outfield is 30 feet high, and the owner could sell 20 feet long by 10 feet high panels for advertised space. I mean, this is the engineer talking. It's just, it's a proud project for him. And so it was amazing for him to get to see his granddaughter, out there running the bases. So anyway, speaking of birthdays, by the way, so my brother and I are both born in May. My birthday's coming up, and I get to celebrate. I guess it's, it doesn't always fall on Memorial Day, but my birthday this year is Memorial Day, right? No, it's not. Just kidding. It's I lied. But on Memorial Day, hold on, no, Sunday, on Sunday, I'm all over the place. I'm going to go see, my lovely wife and I are going to go see Nekrogoblikon play at the National, in Richmond. So I'm excited for that. I've seen, we went out to one of their shows at, Auto Bar in Baltimore. And when I found out that they were playing on my birthday, I was like, let me get some childcare coverage, and Kelly and I can make I wanted it to be a weekend trip, but alas, just one night. So let's plug it. I mean, this episode, I'm publishing this right now on the 19th, so this will come out. Tickets are still available. Let's see. I guess you go to necrogoblikontour.com. And yeah, what? Speaking of music, it would make sense to play a Nekrogoblikon track right now, wouldn't it? I think that's what I should do. I had another song queued up, but you know what? What do I have here? What do I have here on hand? I've got, oh, here we go. I've played this song before. Let's play Goblins. This is Goblins from I don't remember which album it is, but I'll list it in the show notes. This is a fun one, okay? And then I'll see you all on the other side.
I've been spending too much time with goblins. I hear them whispering to me. Well, every time I try to solve a problem, it's just another goblin, alright. Just another goblin in my life.
It's just another goblin. Ugh. I do believe the goblins are real. I still believe in goblins, okay? I tried to tell Eric. I had him on the show. I tried to tell him. I think I was a little rude about it, okay? I don't remember exactly what I said, but I tried to tell him, hey, man, you all are playing with goblins year-round, whether you're on tour or not, okay? Nekrogoblikon, look him up. He's on Instagram. He's actually, he was at the Creek in the Cave doing stand-up with Jeremiah Watkins. I loved that. I loved seeing Nekrogoblikon funnying it up with Jeremiah Watkins. Anyway, who's Jeremiah Watkins, Robin? I don't know. He's, he's a comedian. He's a musical talent. I didn't know who he was until I saw him on the Kill Tony show. He was, early in the early days of Kill Tony when they were at the Comedy Store, and he played the saxophone. He would be in different characters. The band would you got to be a cool band to have musical talent and then also be able to jump in and roast someone or do improv back and forth. Anyway, Jeremiah Watkins, go check him out. What was I gonna say? Wait, hold on. I said something last show. I was going to tell you all about tooth fairies and refrigerator filters. Okay. So, hold on. First, I didn't get to ask the church leadership about whether or not it was okay to use the Book of Common Prayer as a coaster. So I had every intention of doing so. Okay. But we just didn't have time. We had to scoot off and go to the minor league baseball game for kids. That was the reading day or whatever, where they read and then they earn tickets. Maybe you have a program in your area where you're listening from. Anyway, so yeah. So my girls, they're 9 and 7, and this is actually some overlap with goblins, okay? The land of goblins and the land of tooth fairies and the land of Santa Claus and elves and all this stuff, and everyone wants to go ahead and say, this is in your imagination, and therefore it's not real. I love J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter, whatever book it was in when is it Dumbledore or Professor McGonagall says, what makes you think just because it's in your imagination that it's not real? It's like people can say, "Oh, I had this vision, and then I brought it to life." Right? Like it started out as a dream, and then I built this company. We built this city. Okay, so then they bring it into real life, and then it's like now it's real because it was manifested into physical 3D space. But what makes you think that something isn't real just because it's in your mind? And this is where I diverge from the rest of many of my peers as a mental health professional in terms of reality testing and hallucinations and all that stuff. I mean, so how does this relate to tooth fairies or goblins, you might ask? Well, those are imaginary beings, right? No. And this is kind of what I told Eric. I was like, hey, man, goblins are real. I know you sing about it. I know Nekrogoblikon is on stage with you. Manifest, okay? Real goblin, but I'm talking about in your mind's eye. So that I feel like I'm completely mentally ill right now. So my girls are 9 and 7. Do they still believe in the tooth fairy? It's questionable, but Dad still collects teeth and leaves, some vast sums of money under pillows. And if my kids are like, I don't think the tooth fairy is real, I think a traditional parent would be like, it's right. The legend of the tooth fairy is it's a lovely tradition that I think it started back in 1911, something like that. It's not that, or it's 111 years old, something like that. It's not that old, but because I'm this mystical weirdo, I'm like, no, the spirit of the tooth fairy embodies me when I am slowly tiptoeing and not trying to wake you up and taking your tooth and giving you money. I am embodying the spirit of the real tooth fairy. So too with Santa Claus. So too with Nekrogoblikon on stage, embodying the real spirit of goblins. Okay? Maybe that makes no sense, but I don't know. Maybe this isn't the platform. I got to talk to someone. Instead of this solo episode, I got to talk to people about, I don't know, have guests on and then we'll have a conversation. instead of me just rambling and having a conversation with myself. So sad. Okay. Refrigerator filters, Wi-Fi fridge. What does this even mean? I replaced my refrigerator filters, the air filter and the refrigerator filter. And, I was trying to look up, like, what's the filter that I need to do this? And downloaded the app. We've had this fridge for a few years, and I had no idea that it had its own Wi-Fi system. What? Why does a refrigerator need a Wi-Fi? Why? My buddy who was over this past weekend, who's a little nerdy, I think he would admit that. He was like, yeah, to run system diagnostics and to let you know, I'm like, but wait, why does that need Wi-Fi though? I don't get it. But, we've owned this fridge for a while, like I said, and now after kind of downloading the app, and I don't know what I did, but now the Wi-Fi light is on, and it's like, it's kind of wigging me out. I like to go simple. When I can, I like to go simple. Okay, like I'm producing this podcast on an iMac. I'm sure I haven't unlocked 90% of what's on this iMac. I use Gmail and Google Calendar and GarageBand, right? And I guess also iMovie, to do the YouTube version of this show. Hard pivot here to Dolores Cannon. Do you know who Dolores Cannon is? Okay. Dolores Cannon is the queen of mean. No, she's the queen of past life regression. I have slid farther and farther into the weirder waters of healing and the healing arts. And I've talked on the show before about Dr. Brian Weiss. I really, really wish I knew who recommended that book to me. I don't know. Maybe it was Bianca Stevens or Nicholas Treach. I don't know who to thank, but Dr. Brian Weiss, clinical hypnotherapist, regresses his patients back and, in service of healing trauma, and yet the patient goes back to before they were born. And so, this Dolores Cannon also helps what she refers to, and this book was published in the 80s, 70s, 60s. I don't know when it was published, but she refers to them as subjects. The subject was in trance, right? And reports on the life between lives, between death and life, different planes of existence, planes of consciousness. So this is far away from cognitive behavioral therapy, okay? Shout out once again to Norm Epstein and Mariana Falconer. I plugged their book last episode. I'm an old student of CBT, the military, the armed forces, fond of the cognitive behavioral therapeutic approaches. But I feel more comfortable. I'm more in my crowd. If I was at like the psychedelic conference later in June next month in Denver, I'm not going. I wish I could go, but it's being put on by MAPS. Rick Doblin was on Joe Rogan recently and talking about the MAPS project and the whole community. And Joe was like, feds are going to get there, and Rick Doblin's like, we welcome the feds. It's like, again, police officer, people who have stressful jobs, like, you need this medicine. It will heal you. But you don't need psychedelics. And this is, again, as an IFS guy, I've done IFS with non-paid clients, friends of friends, community members. I'm here for it. And people will say, this is like a psychedelic experience. And I'm like, yeah, pretty much. It never gets old when people are like, this is going to sound weird, but, and I'm like, no. In my mind, I'm like, doesn't sound weird. There are laws of inner physics. There's laws of the scientific physics here on physical Earth. Okay, I subscribe to those laws. I act as if those laws are true, and there are also laws in the inner world. And this Between Death and Life book by Dolores Cannon is blowing my mind, and I'm loving it. And I know who to thank here for recommending this book to me. I just don't remember their name because they are someone pointed them my way on from Instagram. Okay, where are we at on the show here? Oh my goodness, I gotta share. Oh God, 23 minutes. Okay, I tell you what, I think I should share the other song that I did have queued up on another episode. So thanks for tuning in. That's the podcast. Let's promote stuff. Write to the show at robinsmithshow at gmail.com. Leave a voicemail on the hotline 301-458-0883. If you're a fan of the show and you'd like to support it to reach more listeners, you can share it with friends, family, and colleagues. Subscribe, follow, rate the show, all of that jazz. Do it on your favorite podcast app. Reviews are always welcome. And if you want to go further, consider becoming a monthly supporter on Patreon. You will help me keep the lights on. There are multiple tiers and different membership benefits. You can check out more, learn more at patreon.com/The Robin Smith Show. Did I say we're on YouTube also? We, the royal we, are on YouTube. Thanks again. Thanks in advance for supporting the show, and thanks for listening. And I'll see you all next time. The Robin Smith Show is produced by me, Robin Smith. Executive produced by Robin and Kelly Glenn Smith at Team Robley. Theme song by The Very Small. The show is engineered by one of my alters, Games Nabisco. Listeners can get in touch by calling or texting the hotline at 301-458-0883. Messages can be sent to robinsmithshow@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow the show on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Disclaimer. This podcast is for general information purposes only and does not constitute the practice of medicine, psychotherapy, or other professional healthcare services, including the giving of medical advice. Note: no therapist-patient relationship is formed. The use of this information is at the listener's own risk. The content of this podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnoses, or treatment. Listeners should not disregard or delay in obtaining medical advice for any medical condition they have and should seek the assistance of their healthcare professionals for any such conditions.